Sphere 11, the doorway, the stargate opening. So as we start to talk about Sphere 11, I want to bring up 3 tarot cards that are related to the number 11. So the first one is Karma. That is the number 11, key number 11. And Karma is where we learn how to adjust our thinking. We work on, is there anything we need to change? Is there anything we could do differently? Any atonement we need to make? Things like that. Okay, so the Karma card is number 11. And 11 traditionally is something like 2 pillars. And so when we're working with the Karma card, it's like being able to walk through these 2 pillars into another way of knowing. And so that would be, what's interesting about the Karma card is it happens to connect Sphere 5, the sphere of cataclysm, with Sphere 6, which is the sphere of enlightenment, basically. Right. So that's that particular path. Also, the Karma is 11, but 11 is composed of 2 ones, right? And 1 plus 1 is 2. And number 2 is the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is numerologically related to Karma, to the Karma card, because she's number 2 and the Karma is number 11, right? Okay, so also there is a relationship between the Priestess and number 20, because 20 is also 2 plus 0 equals 2. So there's a relationship between number 20, card number 20, and the Priestess number 2. Card 20 in the Tarot of the Spirit is called Resurrection, and it also shows going through a portal, following a higher calling. And because you're following a higher calling, we are able to, we are moving toward a higher calling. We are able to move out of what is called the dark pyramid of the past, and that's all the cataclysms in our lives, basically, separate the veil and move through into a new world. So all 3 of these cards are numerologically related. So that's the Priestess, Karma, and Resurrection. So I wanted to start by just mentioning that those cards are related. And now as we move into the 11th sphere on the Tree of Life, there are 10 spheres on the Tree of Life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then there is a secret 11th sphere, which is different from the card Karma. It's actually the secret sphere, and it's called Daath. D-A-A-T-H. Daath. Okay, now we're talking about a leap in consciousness, another leap in consciousness, even bigger than the leap in Resurrection or the leap in Karma, or even the leap that the High Priestess makes by, she makes her leap, basically the High Priestess, by determining the story that she's going to live for her life, and then living that story. So she's making a determination about her own story. So in all 3 of those cards, there's a leap being made, some kind of leap in consciousness. But the leap that we make in the sphere of Daath, sphere number 11, is even bigger. It is a leap into another dimension. So it's something like a new dimension. When we get into the number 11, it's 10 plus 1 more. So we're actually moving into the next decade. And then when they say the next set of 10, in other words, and then when they talk about 11:11, you've heard about this 11:11, like it's time, it's 11:11 o'clock, it's 11:11 time. 11:11 is the leap into the next dimension, basically. And this is what we're calling now the Stargate opening. This is Sphere 11, Daath, the 11:11 Stargate opening into the next dimension. So that came about, by the way, if you don't know or if you're not aware, that 11:11 came about digital watches. And the first time that it was ever seen widely was in the film 2001, where they had on digital watches and they focused and centered on 11:11 as leaping beyond the known world into the next world. So that's where the whole thing came from, with the 11:11. And then everybody started wearing digital watches. It was after that movie came out. That was the origin. It was 2001, the movie, Stanley Kubrick, 2001. Yeah. Okay, so the karma card, number 11, reaches sort of in one direction toward the priestess, and the other direction toward the resurrection. Those three are related. And let's look at the priestess again for a second, wherever she is. Here's the priestess. We look at the priestess card. So the priestess stands on the path, on the tree of life that connects the sphere number 1 with sphere number 6. So she is that path between 1 and 6. She stands looking over the abyss, and she stands, by the way, on what is called the Rainbow Bridge, looking over the abyss and specifically into sphere 11, the secret sphere called Daath, which lives in the center of the abyss. So I see the abyss as being something like, I imagine it this way. I imagine it like a canyon. It's like this long canyon, and it's very dark and it's very deep, and it exists below the priestess. And she has fallen into this canyon before, and the place is, it's unfathomable. You don't know what you're going to find. You don't know what's in there. There are no guides, there are no role models. It's really, really dark. But you want to get out. So what you're doing, let's say, is you're walking along the walls, the edges, trying to feel for hand holds, footholds, anything. Somebody must have been in here before, maybe. But you've got to find a way out, right? So you're feeling. Finally, you come to some handholds, and here you can climb out. This is the way out. Showing there have been people in there before. And there will be a way out if you're patient enough to try to figure it out. The handholds would be a metaphor for the tools that we gain and we learn while we're in the dark place. In that darkness, inside that darkness. How are we going to learn to navigate? Because it's inside that darkness, actually, that we learn. We learn about ourselves. It's when we fall into the abyss, when we actually fall into the abyss, is when we find the resources within ourselves that we never knew we had. And then we are going to emerge much stronger. Every time we fall in, we're going to emerge much stronger. And if we really get this down so that we know what we're doing, we can voluntarily go into the abyss just to learn. So, for example, the abyss could be something like, you could look at it as something like a vision quest.
Depression could be a vision quest.
Yeah, like a depression could even be a vision quest. Depression, for example, could be like a vision quest. So you could go voluntarily into that place and sit in the darkness and wait. Maybe wait for a revelation, wait for some kind of answer. But of course you don't want to stay in there forever. And the high priestess is going to be the one, upon her own emergence, she's going to be the one who comes out and helps to guide others, lead others, instruct others, and give other people maybe the tools in terms of, or some guidance as to how you can possibly get out. But everybody's got to find their own way. This is a place where everyone has to find their own way, because there really aren't any role models. I mean, you can give some ideas like, hey, look around, feel along the edge until you come to some handholds. Well, where are they going to be? Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's dark. It's pitch black in there. But see if you can find your way. So there she stands over the abyss, over this chasm, ready to, probably first balancing herself so she doesn't fall in, probably because she has fallen in, and then learning how to navigate. By the way, the priestess, interestingly about the priestess, one of the symbols for the priestess is the camel. In Hebrew, she's camel, which means camel. And the camel is one who goes for very long stretches in the arid land, the desert land, without sustenance. So she learns how to do that. She is the one who learns how to navigate long stretches without sustenance. And that makes her really strong and powerful too. So that's the priestess. So right in the middle of the abyss, which is this huge chasm, is sphere number 11, a doorway. So it's going to be a secret doorway. It's called the doorway to knowledge. And this 11 is a new beginning. So I wanted to just read something out of Visionary Cosmology about this new beginning. Let's see. This is page 162. I think. Oh, I'm reading the wrong book. This is Visionary Cosmology I'm looking for. Yeah, page 162. Okay. Okay, this is about 11. 11 is the beginning of a new decade, the beginning of a new series, number 1 on the next spiral. The 11th power contains the wisdom of the knowledge gained in the journey of 1 through 10. So by the time we get to the next level, we already have all this information about the 1 through 10. The 11th hour is the final hour before the end of a cycle of time. It signifies a sense of urgency. Even if space is infinite, time in human terms is short. 11 then heralds a quick and decisive turning point. The possibility and hope of a great revelation and offering at the very moment of the last gasp. So this is like when something happens that's going to change the direction of things, and we get some kind of sudden knowledge that arises. This 11th sphere is a sphere of the unknown realms, as I said, and in the tarot it's represented by the mystery card. This mystery card is the only card in the deck that has no name on it. It's an overarching card that overarches the entire tarot deck. The card with no name. This card is known as a field of unmanifest dreams and images and potential. It's the beginning and the becoming of the cosmos. It's within the cosmic sea, or the cosmic sea is within it. The cosmic matrix. It's called the womb of becoming, the cosmological birth canal. And in this place, the unknown becomes known and creation emerges, because it's like a doorway between worlds. The knowledge of all that has been, is, and ever shall be passes here. Entering this realm of Daath, it's called, that is the Hebrew name which means knowledge, D-A-A-T-H, Daath, it's pronounced. Entering this realm of Daath, sphere 11, Daath, we learn about death, birth, and love. We also learn that Daath is not only on the tree of life, but it exists on the tree of life, but it also exists in another dimension. The door opens in the center of the abyss. The priestess enters through the door, and as she enters Daath, she must face her fears. She has to face things like her lack of knowing. She doesn't know what the future holds. She has to face her lack of privilege. And what that means is, who has the right to do this, to travel here? Will she get out? Because there's nobody ahead of her. There's no one leading her. There's no one guiding her. This is a descent to the underworld. And in this place, identity breaks down. We start to lose our identity. And this is a classic tale of Inanna, of Persephone going to the underworld as our identity begins to break down. Any of us can fall into the abyss. We can fall in the abyss when we're in situations of extreme hardship or loss, illness, financial problems, all of the things that are constantly besetting us, any kind of loss. And we may learn there inside the abyss how to embrace and learn from the different aspects of darkness that we're dealing with. That's what it's about. This is a realm of extraordinary mystery, a place we can only go alone, a place where we learn that we do know what we don't know we know. Does that make sense? We know what we don't know we know, which really has to do with intuition, and the priestess is all about intuition. An example of being in this space, and this is a story I've told before, but when a friend of mine was dying, and she called me up and asked me to midwife her through that process, and I had no idea what to do. Or so I thought, that I wasn't the right one. What do I know about this? But when I got there, and when I showed up, and when I agreed to face whatever it was I was going to have to face, I knew exactly what to do. I just trusted my intuition. And this is what we learn in that abyss and in that place and through that doorway, is that we actually do know what to do. We can do that. We can rise into that. But it's about trusting ourselves as we're walking that really deep path. Being at one with the impulses we have in that situation. And this is a place of mystical initiation. Yes, Daath is the realm of mystical initiation, and therefore the intelligence of Sphere 11, the sphere of Daath, is called the intelligence of the mystical adventurer. So, and this is all of us, as the priestess, as a mystical adventurer, go ahead and go in there. No, you don't know, but you actually do. And you will know what to do. Trust yourself. Sphere 11, then, is a state of readiness to engage. Like, I will take this on. I can do this. And it's coming to the place in your life where you say, yes, I will. I will go there. I will learn from it. It's a place where all opposites congeal together and create the new. For example, it's a place where, metaphorically, egg and sperm meet, the egg and sperm of the divine parents. Egg and sperm meet, dissolve, which is scary in and of itself, in this dark realm, and then become something new, and then pass into a new realm. So this is the place where all this stuff is happening. And then so we go out through this doorway, we come back in through this doorway. So it's the place of passing in and out, and it's a vortex. It's like a vortex of energy, it is said. So these are some of the names that are given to this vortex of energy. It's called a crack in reality, a crack in space, a primal opening, the gate between worlds, the gateway to nirvana, a high holy place, the sanctum sanctorum, the empty room, the upper room, the dwelling place of the Most High, the temple in the clouds at the top of the mountain, the island in the river, the tower prison, the inside of a prism, the inside of a corn seed, the realization of everything, the realization of nothing, all possibility and none. Entering into Daath constitutes a rite of passage in the very core of the great mysteries. Inside this place, inside this door, inside this womb, inside the abyss, we enter into a one-way rite from which there is no return, a rite of passage, one way. Because once we have learned what we learned there, we are not going to unlearn it. It becomes part of us. And this was, I was talking about the experience that I had in the war in El Salvador. And that was an entry into an abyss where I had to figure out things that they made no sense because there were no rules for anything. It was very hard to understand what was going on. And I had to try to put it together and figure out where the handholds and footholds were to move out of that war zone in my own consciousness, because I was carrying that war zone in my own consciousness. And I've been working with those energies and moving in and out of that abyss for over 30 years. That's how much that particular abyss seeded me. The card is known as the card of the midwife of birth, death, and karmic transition. And now I'm back on the mystery card, looking at the mystery card, which represents Daath in the Tarot of the Spirit. The runes on the card spell out mystery, spell out midwife of birth, death, and karmic transition. So when you get this card, basically when you draw this card, what's happening is either you are being midwifed through some kind of experience, or you are midwifing somebody through some kind of experience. If you're being midwifed through, you may not realize that you have help. You may feel like you're completely alone, but actually the universe is conspiring to help you move through this experience. And if you're midwifing somebody through the experience, you may not think you know what you're doing, but here's where the intuition kicks in. And you do know. When you come to this place, you are actually hitting the center of the target of the great mysteries. And you can see these concentric circles that are like a target. And in the middle of the card, you see something that looks like a fish hook on the end of what looks like a pen point. And when you get into that center, you are hooking the core of the truth. You're also being hooked into it. And meaning that some kind of knowledge is being given to you and you are apprehending it, you are getting it, and it is also getting you. The yellow on the card stands for enlightenment, because that is what is going to come out. And the pen itself represents the expression that is going to move forward out of you when you understand how to work with these energies. So this is the energy within which and under which we are undergoing these massive rites of passage. For example, the rite of passage of ordination. So we're moving into that 1111 space, that vortex. It's the unknown. We're moving through a rite of passage in that place. And this is the Stargate opening. This is what happens with us. This is also out of visionary cosmology. The Stargate opening, and here we go through basically the paradigm of the tree of life again, 1 through 10, and then adding on the 11th point, which ups us into the next dimension. Okay, 0. I am the spiritual and material star field of universal life. I'm the field, and the field is all around me. Number 1, I am the body of the cosmos in every moment, spinning into form and realization. Number 2, I am an electrified force field inspired to keep the universe in motion. Number 3, I am a center of creation and a zone of cosmological emergence. Are you with me on these? Are you following me on these? We are all of this. Number 4, I am a sanctuary of nurturance. Number 5, I am the power of dissolution and dispersion, the change that heralds the new. I'm going to read that again. Okay. That's number 5. I am the power of dissolution and dispersion. I am the change that heralds the new. Number 6, I am integral to the expansive inner relations of the cosmological community. I am integral to the whole cosmological community. 7, I am the cosmological adventure and the transmutation of imagination. 8, I am the record of cosmic experience, holding, integrating, and creating new code. Number 9, I am reflective universe, witnessing and remembering the possibilities of its course. Number 10, I am radiant cosmos, expressing itself as a child risen from the sun. And then number 11, now we come to number 11. I am the Stargate awakening, the portal and the passage into new dimensions of becoming. That's the next dimension. I am the Stargate awakening, the portal and the passage into new dimensions of becoming. I am, thou art. I am, you are, we are, they are. You are with me and I am with you, and we are together. We are the secret of the 11th power emerging in the 11th hour. We are synergistic mind, awakening in the infinite field of the new era. You are living universe. The powers of creation are in you and with you now. Your offering is your art. Take the leap. Enter the next spiral. And together we will experience our new set of wings. That is the secret 11th sphere and the power of initiation in the 11th sphere. And that is who we are. The end of Daath right now and the beginning.